Let me tell you something up front. There are two versions of you living inside you right now. One is bold, fearless, disciplined, and ready to step into greatness. The other, the weak version. The one that makes excuses, procrastinates, complains, and settles for less than you deserve. Inside every human being, there exists a constant tension between two different selves. One is powerful, disciplined, focused, and determined to achieve greatness. The other is fragile, inconsistent, fearful, and constantly looking for comfort over growth. These two versions are not separate people. They are two forces fighting for control over your daily decisions. Every moment of your life, you are either strengthening the strong version or feeding the weak one. The strong version of you is the voice that pushes you to get up earlier, work harder, and remain consistent even when no one is watching. It is the part of you that believes in unseen possibilities, that takes bold steps even in the face of uncertainty. It whispers reminders that you were not born to live in mediocrity, but to rise into a life of impact, influence, and abundance. It calls you to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. The weak version, however, is the one that keeps you tied down to average. It tells you, rest a little longer. It doesn't matter if you miss today. It convinces you that your fears are too big, your past too heavy, and your dreams too unrealistic. It thrives on your hesitation, your doubts, and your excuses. It wants you to settle because settling feels safe. But safety and growth can never live in the same place. This inner battle is not a one-time event. It happens every single day. When you face the decision to stay disciplined or give in to distraction, both versions show up. When you decide whether to take action or wait for the perfect moment, both versions speak. One urges you forward, while the other pulls you back. And whichever one you listen to more often, that is the version that becomes stronger. Most people underestimate the power of small daily choices. They believe greatness is only found in massive opportunities, while in reality it is hidden in the little decisions you make when no one is watching. Do you push through the workout when you feel tired, or do you stop? Do you choose to study, build, create, or practice your craft, or do you scroll aimlessly and waste the hours? Each choice is not just a decision. It is a vote for the strong version or for the weak version inside of you. The strong version thrives when you practice discipline, when you keep your word to yourself, and when you demand more from your life. It grows every time you do something uncomfortable, something that requires courage, something that requires faith. It feeds on progress, no matter how small, and it gains strength when you refuse to back down in the face of adversity. Every victory, no matter how minor, adds to its power. The weak version grows in the same way, but with opposite fuel. It gains power when you justify quitting. When you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. When you choose comfort over consistency. It becomes stronger when you compare yourself to others and allow doubt to settle in. The more you give in to laziness, the louder its voice becomes. It starts to dominate your mind until you can barely hear the call of your stronger self. The dangerous part about the weak version is that it disguises itself as logic. It convinces you that resting instead of working is reasonable. It tells you that waiting for the right timing is smart. It whispers that your goals are unrealistic and that playing small is more practical. This deception countless. It's a living I've lived lives, never tapping into their true potential. On the other hand, the strong version rarely sounds easy. Its voice doesn't promise instant results. Instead, it demands persistence, sacrifice, and effort. It challenges you to step out of what is convenient and walk into what is necessary. It reminds you that growth never happens in the comfort zone. This is why so many people silence the strong version. They don't want to hear the truth about what it will really take to live the life they say they want. The truth is, both versions are always with you, but only one can dominate at a time. You cannot serve them both. Every action, every decision, every thought strengthens one while weakening the other. The version that wins is the version you choose to feed. And whether you realize it or not, that choice is shaping your destiny. Excuses are the silent killers of potential, and they often disguise themselves as rational explanations. They sound convincing because they let you off the hook, but in reality, they keep you stuck in the same place year after year. Every time you tell yourself why you can't, why it's not the right time, or why you're not ready, you chain yourself to mediocrity. Excuses feel safe in the moment, but they rob you of progress and growth. They become the comfort zone you defend instead of the breakthrough you pursue. When people look back on their lives with regret, it is rarely because they tried and failed. More often, it is because they never even tried. They justified their inaction with excuses. They said they were too busy, too tired, too unprepared, or too disadvantaged. But in reality, the only thing that stopped them was the story they told themselves. Potential dies not because it wasn't there, but because it was suffocated by excuses that sounded believable, but were built on fear. Excuses are dangerous because they multiply. One excuse rarely stands alone. Once you allow one into your life, it opens the door to many more. You say you don't have time, and then you also say you don't have energy. You say you don't have enough knowledge, and then you also say you don't have enough support. Excuses form a web, and before long you're trapped in it. The more you repeat them, the more you believe them, and the more powerless you feel. What excuses really do is remove responsibility. They shift the blame away from you and onto circumstances, people, or timing. It feels easier to point to external things than to admit you could have done more. But here's the truth. Responsibility is the birthplace of power. When you take full ownership, you gain the ability to change. When you give your power to excuses, you forfeit control of your own life. That is why people who cling to excuses rarely move forward. They've surrendered their power without even realizing it. Excuses also create a false sense of relief. They give you temporary comfort because you convince yourself that you had a good reason for not acting. You tell yourself, I didn't fail, I just couldn't because of this reason. But that comfort is only temporary. Deep down, you know you avoided the challenge. Deep down, you know you held yourself back. And the longer you live in excuses, the heavier that quiet guilt becomes. It starts to eat at your confidence, your self-respect, and your belief in what's possible for you. Potential cannot grow in the soil of excuses. Every time you choose an excuse over action, you weaken your discipline. You train your mind to accept less from yourself. You teach yourself that quitting before you start is acceptable. Over time, this becomes a pattern, and patterns form habits, and habits form character. Before you realize it, excuses don't just explain your actions, they define who you are becoming. The truth is, the world does not reward excuses, it rewards results. Life doesn't care why you didn't do it. The marketplace doesn't pay you for your reasons. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel ready. While you're explaining why you can't, someone else is out there proving that they can. While you're telling yourself it's too hard, someone else is embracing the difficulty and moving closer to their breakthrough. Excuses keep you behind while discipline moves others ahead. Excuses are fueled by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of discomfort. Instead of facing fear head on, many people wrap it up in a package called excuse to make it sound logical. But fear doesn't disappear because you excuse yourself from action. It grows stronger. Every time you back away, you make fear bigger and courage smaller. Excuses are simply fear in disguise, and they keep you from discovering just how powerful you really are. Another thing excuses steal from you is time. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and it cannot be replaced. Every excuse delays your progress, and those delays add up. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and months become years. Before you know it, you look back and realize how much of your life was wasted not because you lacked potential, but because you kept explaining to yourself why you couldn't use it. Time wasted on excuses is time you will never get back. The tragedy of excuses is that they often sound reasonable. They seem small, harmless, and justified. But behind every excuse is a dream postponed, a goal abandoned, or a destiny delayed. They don't just stop you from doing something today, they stop you from becoming someone tomorrow. And the longer you allow excuses to live in your mind, the further away you drift from the person you were designed to become. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, but comfort is the enemy that tries to pull you back. Comfort whispers, take it easy, you've done enough, while discipline demands, do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. The battle between discipline and comfort is not fought once in a while. It's fought every single day in the small choices you make. Success is never found on the path of least resistance. It is always found in the moments when you push past comfort and choose discipline. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it leaves you with regret later. When you skip the workout, it feels good for an hour, but it costs you in the long run. When you procrastinate on your goals, the temporary relief feels nice, but the lost time creates frustration later. Discipline, on the other hand, rarely feels good at the start. Waking up early, staying focused, putting in extra hours, it stretches you. Yet over time, discipline rewards you with results, progress, and confidence that comfort can never give you. The people who achieve greatness are not necessarily more talented or gifted than everyone else. They are simply more disciplined. They train themselves to do the things others avoid. While most choose the comfort of distractions, they choose the discomfort of consistency. While most wait for motivation, they rely on habits. Discipline becomes their greatest strength because it guarantees progress regardless of how they feel in the moment. Comfort is seductive because it tells you that you deserve a break. It convinces you that you've worked hard enough already, even when deep down you know you haven't. It tricks you into believing that your best can wait until tomorrow. The danger of comfort is that it doesn't come at you like an enemy, it comes disguised as a friend. It doesn't destroy you instantly, it slowly weakens you until your potential is wasted. Discipline requires sacrifice, and that's why so many people avoid it. It asks you to give up temporary pleasures for long-term rewards. It demands that you prioritize growth over gratification. It requires you to be consistent when no one is watching and to stay committed even when results are not immediate. Discipline is not easy, but it is simple. Do what needs to be done, no matter how you feel about it. Those who embrace that simplicity separate themselves from everyone else. Every major transformation in life is rooted in discipline. Building a strong body requires discipline in eating, exercising, and resting. Building wealth requires discipline in managing money, investing, and creating value. Building character requires discipline in controlling your thoughts, words, and actions. Comfort avoids the work and pays the price later, but discipline pays the price now so that you can reap the rewards later. The question is always, will you choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Discipline also creates freedom, which may sound like a contradiction. Most people think freedom comes from doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But that kind of freedom often leads to chaos, lack of control, and wasted potential. True freedom comes when you discipline yourself. The disciplined person is free from the chains of procrastination, free from the burden of excuses, free from the weight of inconsistency. Discipline gives you control over your life instead of leaving you at the mercy of your impulses. Comfort, on the other hand, slowly enslaves you. The more you give into it, the harder it becomes to break free. A single skip day turns into a skipped week. One excuse becomes a habit. The more you choose comfort, the weaker your willpower becomes. Before long, you no longer control your choices. Your comfort does. That's why so many people find themselves stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they surrendered to the pull of ease instead of rising to the challenge of discipline. Discipline builds confidence in a way comfort never can. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you start to trust yourself more. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through. This creates a cycle of growth. The more disciplined you are, the more results you see. And the more results you see, the stronger your confidence becomes. Comfort destroys this cycle. It teaches you to doubt yourself because deep down you know you are not living up to your potential. The truth is, the life you want is hidden behind uncomfortable decisions. It's hidden behind early mornings, long hours, tough choices, and persistent effort. Comfort will keep you where you are, but discipline will take you where you need to be. Every time you are faced with the decision between comfort and discipline, you are shaping your future. The choice you make today will echo in the results you see tomorrow. Weakness doesn't die on its own. It survives because you feed it. Every excuse you make, every moment you waste, every time you choose procrastination over progress, you are giving it energy. Weakness thrives on comfort, distraction, and fear. It grows stronger every time you let it win the small battles. But strength also lives inside you, and it needs nourishment too. The difference between the life you have now and the life you're capable of living is determined by which one you choose to feed. Feeding your strength begins with discipline. When you do the things you don't feel like doing, but know you should, you're giving strength the fuel it needs. When you rise early to work on your goals, when you train your mind and body consistently, when you keep pushing forward despite the resistance, you're feeding the strongest version of yourself. Strength grows when you refuse to let your feelings dictate your actions. Starving weakness means cutting off its supply of excuses and justifications. Weakness loves when you say, "I'll do it later." It thrives when you say, "I don't feel ready." It flourishes when you blame circumstances instead of taking responsibility. The moment you stop entertaining these thoughts, weakness begins to shrink. It cannot survive without your agreement. The less attention you give it, the quieter it becomes. Strength requires constant investment. It's not something you can feed once and expect it to last forever. Just like a muscle, it only grows with repeated effort. The more you practice courage, the braver you become. The more you practice focus, the sharper your mind gets. The more you practice perseverance, the stronger your willpower grows. Feeding strength daily creates momentum, and momentum is what separates those who rise from those who stay the same. Weakness will always try to make its case. It will argue for comfort. It will remind you of past failures. It will highlight your limitations. It will show up when you're tired, when you're discouraged, and when success feels far away. But you get to decide whether to listen or to ignore it. Every time you silence that inner weakness and take action anyway, you starve it a little more. Over time, its voice becomes faint, while the voice of strength grows louder. Feeding your strength also means surrounding yourself with the right influences. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the environments you choose. These all serve as food for either weakness or strength. Negative environments and unmotivated people feed your weaknesses, but empowering communities, uplifting knowledge, and challenging situations feed your strength. Who and what you allow into your life determines which version of you is being nourished. Starving weakness also requires eliminating habits that drain you, poor routines, unhealthy behaviors, and wasted hours are fuel for the weaker version of yourself. Every time you indulge in them, you're giving weakness exactly what it wants. Replacing these habits with intentional, productive, and healthy ones takes away its food supply. Eventually, weakness becomes too weak to fight back because it has nothing left to feed on. Strength thrives on progress, even if the progress is small. The more you move forward, the more energy your strong self gains. When you complete a task, no matter how minor, it feeds your confidence. When you push through a challenge, it feeds your resilience. When you keep your word to yourself, it feeds your self-respect. Strength is fueled by action, not intention. You don't have to do everything at once, but you must do something consistently. Weakness is fueled by inactivity. The longer you wait, the stronger it gets. Delays, hesitation, and idleness give weakness more ground. That's why people who wait for the perfect time never begin. They've been feeding their weakness for so long that strength has no energy left. The cure is simple but not easy move. Do something even if it's uncomfortable. Action starves weakness and feeds strength at the same time. The choice is always yours. Both weakness and strength are alive in you, but only one will dominate your future. One drains you, the other builds you. One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. And every single decision you make is either a meal for your weakness or a meal for your strength. There is a power inside you that you haven't even touched yet, a strength that has been lying dormant, waiting for you to wake it up. Most people live their lives never accessing it because they convince themselves that what they see right now is all there is. But hidden within you is potential far greater than the limitations you've accepted. It doesn't reveal itself in moments of comfort. It comes alive when you're pressed, challenged, and stretched beyond what you think you can handle. Unlocking that hidden power begins with belief. If you believe you are weak, your actions will follow weakness. If you believe you are capable of more, your actions will rise to that level. The mind is the gateway to your hidden strength because your body and your habits will only go as far as your mindset allows. When you stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will, you begin to uncover the power that has been waiting to be used all along. Adversity is often the key that unlocks hidden power. It's the situations that push you to the edge, the challenges that force you to grow, the setbacks that demand resilience. Most people see adversity as an obstacle, but in reality, it's an invitation to discover a version of yourself you didn't know existed. Until you are tested, you don't truly know how strong you can be. Pressure has a way of exposing weakness, but it also reveals power that comfort will never show you. Hidden power shows itself when you stop running from challenges and start running toward them. Every time you step into something that scares you, you tap into new layers of strength. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act in spite of it. And when you choose courage repeatedly, fear loses its grip on you. That's when you begin to realize you were capable of so much more than you allowed yourself to believe. Unlocking power also requires persistence. Many people give up too quickly and never see how strong they could have become. The hidden reserves of strength are rarely found in the first attempt. They come after the struggle, after the failures, after the pain of trying again. Power is hidden in the repetition, in the moments when you push one step further than before. If you quit too soon, you never reach the depth where that strength is stored. Discipline plays a vital role in unlocking hidden power. It's not just about showing up once. It's about showing up every single day. The more consistent you are, the more layers of ability you uncover. Every rep in the gym, every hour of study, every day of focused effort adds another layer of power that you didn't realize you had. Over time, you look back and realize you've become someone stronger, sharper, and more capable than you once thought possible. Hidden power is often unlocked through pain. Not just physical pain, but the emotional and mental pain of pushing through difficulties. Pain is a teacher. It shows you what you're made of. Instead of avoiding it, you must learn to endure it and extract the strength within it. Pain refines you, reshapes you, and unlocks power that would never be released in a life of ease. Without resistance, there is no growth. And without growth, your hidden potential remains locked away. Vision also fuels the unlocking of power. When you have a clear reason why you are fighting, your inner strength rises to match it. A strong enough purpose can pull out power you didn't even know was there. When the vision is bigger than the obstacle, you find energy you didn't think you had, focus you didn't think you could maintain, and endurance you didn't think was possible. Your vision calls out the power that lies buried deep inside of you. Unlocking hidden power requires that you stop settling for the minimum. You must push past average and demand more from yourself than you have before. Hidden power is not revealed in half effort or half commitment. It shows up when you give everything you have, when you stretch beyond your current limits. It comes when you refuse to stop at good enough and aim for excellence instead. The stronger version of you is not hiding from you, it's waiting for you to demand its presence. The truth is, hidden power is not something you have to go find outside of yourself. It is already there, placed within you, waiting for the right conditions to be unlocked. It doesn't come from luck. It doesn't come from shortcuts. It doesn't come from waiting. It comes from faith, from action, and from persistence. Every time you push further, believe bigger, and act bolder, another piece of that hidden power reveals itself. Life changes the moment a decision is made, but too many people delay, waiting for the perfect timing that never arrives. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not always talent, resources, or opportunity. It's the willingness to decide and act immediately. Every delay strengthens hesitation, and every hesitation weakens momentum. The truth is, clarity often comes after action, not before it, and the people who move forward are the ones who refuse to wait. When you put off decisions, you trick yourself into thinking you have unlimited time. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, forgetting that tomorrow is promised to no one. Each day that passes without action is another day wasted, another chance lost, another step not taken. Waiting does not make the decision easier, it only makes the consequences heavier. The longer you stall, the further you drift from the life you want to create. Deciding now does not mean having all the answers. It does not mean the path is perfectly clear. It means choosing a direction and committing to take the first step. Most people want certainty before they act, but certainty comes from movement, The road reveals itself to those who are willing to walk it. Action produces clarity, and clarity produces confidence. But none of this happens until you make the choice to start. The act of deciding carries power because it signals to your mind that you are serious. Until you decide, everything remains an option, and options often create paralysis. Once a firm decision is made, energy begins to shift. You cut off all other possibilities and direct your focus fully toward one outcome. That focus is what fuels progress. A weak decision leads to weak action, but a strong decision followed by immediate steps creates momentum that cannot be ignored. Fear often disguises itself as caution, making you believe that waiting is the smart thing to do. But what fear is really doing is holding you hostage. It convinces you that conditions must be perfect before you act. Yet perfect conditions never exist. There will always be risk, uncertainty, and doubt. Those who succeed are not the ones who wait until fear disappears. They are the ones who move in spite of it. They understand that courage is a decision, not a feeling. Acting now does not mean moving recklessly. It means refusing to let hesitation rob you of opportunity. Every great accomplishment started with a moment of immediate action.